Maybe I can type it in instead. Oh. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name's Inga. I'm a content developer at Zealed, and I'll be moderating the webinar today. We understand what it takes to run a small business, so thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us this morning to learn all about QR codes. QR codes are an effective way to communicate with your customers or clients, and they're essentially a new marketing channel for increasing brand awareness and conversions, but they're also so much more than that. So today you're going to find out everything you need to know about how to use QR codes for your small business. Our speaker with us today is Rhonda Amendi. She's a general manager who's been with Zealed for many years across lots of different roles. And she's also the founder of an amazing charity organization in New Zealand called Time Out. In a moment, she'll tell you everything you need to know about how to use QR codes for your small business. And I, for one, am excited to hear what she has to say. A quick run through before you begin about how the webinar will run today. If you have any questions for us, you can send us a message in the chat mode or question mode in the gray panel on the right of your screen. You can message me or Rhonda privately or publicly for everyone to see. It's completely up to you. And if you would rather speak to us directly, you can also click the button at the bottom of the screen that has a hand to request to speak to us directly. After the webinar, we'll be sending out an email with a link to watch the replay. So if you find that you have to run out early or you miss anything important while listening or taking notes, you can always catch up with it at a later date. We'll be having our Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. But in the meantime, please tell us with a yes or no answer if you're already using QR codes in your business. And while we go through the webinar, we do encourage you to send in your questions or to have them written down for the Q&A session by the end. We also are running a free online strategy session for attendees of the webinar. These sessions are free, and I'll just start that for you. So you should be seeing it now on your screen, but please let me know if you don't. With this session, you can discuss with one of our digital business strategists anything you want to improve in your website or how to get your business set up online. And because these sessions are free, it's a really valuable opportunity for you to figure out some specific solutions for your business needs. And without further ado, here's Rhonda to tell you everything you need to know about QR codes for your business. Take it away.
Thanks, Inga. So QR codes, I'm really excited about today's webinar. And I think, yeah, we want to try and make it as interactive as possible. So please use that chat. If you are using QR codes, please put in there what you're using, even a screenshot of what you're doing. That would be really awesome to kind of look into that. And if you've even got products around you with examples or a little story about where you saw last one, yeah, add them into the chat. That would be really awesome. But essentially today we're going to be looking at what is a QR code, how do QR codes work, how QR codes benefit small businesses, are QR codes still relevant in 2022, how QR codes are being used by businesses, and we've got a few examples as well to share. So what is a QR code? And so I think through COVID, a lot of us have become familiar with this little sign, the old QR code check-in sign. And really, you use your phone, as you remember, you scan the code and it would log you in and out of venues. And then this data was stored for contact tracing. So basically QR is short for quick response. So QR codes are scannable barcodes that store data. So, you know, the old traditional barcode on a product, it's really just using similar technology to that, but this time it is a square. And it uses that to store data and basically deliver or do something. We had to do one of these at my son's wedding. That was during those different phases of lockdown. And as his wedding guests arrived, they had to scan in, and the information listed the location of the wedding. It also had my son's contact details associated with it as the event organizer in case contact tracing needed to happen. So how do QR codes work? And like I was saying, much like a barcode on a product, each QR code consists of those black squares, and you can just see it there in that image. And there's all different patterns of them. But each dot and square represents different pieces of information, and when scanned, the unique pattern of the barcode translates into readable data. So this transaction between the dots and the squares into readable information happens in seconds. So basically, it's like a language translation tool. It's a electronic language that can get translated into a language that you and I can understand. So there's two, sorry, how do QR codes work? Yeah. So that's the correct slide there. So they can consist of squares, etc. Sorry, forgot to move the slide there. So I'm just trying to find my one on different. Have I gone and put it in the wrong order, Inga? I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll just talk about dynamic and static QR codes. A static QR code is a QR code with fixed information. It can't be overwritten and edited. And a dynamic QR code is a QR code that has a short redirection to a URL encoded within it. And the information you're trying to communicate isn't encoded in the QR code itself. So there's been two kind of different types of QR codes that have been created, static and dynamic. And really, if you're thinking about it, static was the old way of doing QR codes where they were very simple and that was fixed. You couldn't change them, but the technology has since advanced and now you have these dynamic QR codes where the QR code stays the same, but the information it translates to is very dynamic or can change and it's editable. So really, if you're going to go and generate some QR codes, I'd recommend you generate dynamic QR codes. They're small, they're lightweight, they can be edited. And the key thing here for businesses is that they are trackable. You can use it to manage the data of how well your promotion or the use of that QR code is going. Basically, dynamic QR codes are best in businesses, marketing, hospitality, government, and they are basically because they're newer, more advanced technology, they're getting used more often. This old static QR codes, I guess the best use of them would be if it's just a single use QR code, such as like my son's wedding. One-off use, so a static one would have been fine for that, or if it's really just for personal use. They actually used a QR code on his wedding invitations that went through to a page on a website so that people could RSVP. So it's just going to be used for that, nothing else. Okay, so how are QR codes benefiting businesses? How can they really help you as a business owner? And really, there's a few areas. So we'll just go through them at a high level. And one is safety. So obviously, as a result of COVID, a lot of shoppers, a lot of people frequenting hospitality are wanting contactless options or at least minimizing contact. And so the contact tracing of QR codes is an example that made that safe. Instead of having to write down with a pen, people were able to just scan and have a contactless way of doing things. QR codes can be a safe way to purchase as well. And this little example in the slide is someone having this on the table at a restaurant. It's telling the person that the table's been cleaned and sanitized, and hey, here's the QR code, which then goes through to the menu where they're able to select what they'd like from there and even pay online from there as well. So they do help people build into their process safe options or not contactless, or at least minimizing contact options. They're flexible. So again, that dynamic QR code enables a business to print marketing material less frequently. So it saves on time, cost, and resources. They're versatile as a business owner, which is really important, that you don't want to be stuck into one thing. So encoded data can be as simple or complex as you need it to be for reaching, engaging with customers. It can be a simple coupon code, or it can be a link to a complex how-to video. Really, the only restriction is your imagination. The technology is not restrictive at all. Accessibility. So smartphones give most people the ability to scan a QR code, and QR codes can be placed anywhere. Younger generations will have cell phones. Even myself have a cell phone that has a QR code reader built into the camera. The camera is actually the QR code reader, and I don't need a specialized QR code reading app anymore. And the good thing about COVID is that it's meant a lot of the older generation have embraced smart cell phones and are familiar with QR codes as well. So they can be placed on shop windows, in advertising, on products. I've seen a couple of restore stores place them in as part of the windows display, so that if after hours shoppers are going by and they see something they like on the window, they can use the QR code to go to a page and then make a purchase. So the QR code doesn't just go to the homepage, but it goes to a specific page that's been set up to reflect what's in the shop window and enable purchase, which I think is a really lovely way to connect people even after hours from your physical store to your online store, and keep that engagement going. And again, coming to engagement, QR codes are not just a tool for sharing content, they let you showcase better content. So the QR code can link to audio, imagery, video files, landing pages, PDF documents, and it can even lead through to interactive content as well. So interactive content turns your QR code campaign into a conversation or an experience, and letting you engage your users and drive them towards the next step of the customer journey. So an example of this is an interactive QR code is taking a customer through to a competition, or I've seen one where it takes them through to a game that then leads them to submit their email address to register and become part of your database. So QR codes are a great way to build that database, and with all the bells and whistles of marketing, collecting and growing your database remains one of the key things that you can do as a business to grow that database following. So QR codes are also sustainable and affordable. So QR codes reduce the amount of printed material needed for running a business. So you could have QR codes that go through to electronic menus or brochures, and even minimizing information needing to be printed into business cards. It can go to how-to videos and instructions. And for example, this little image here of a QR code on a wooden product, it could link through to a information video or instructions on how to put the piece of material or furniture together. It can also go through to a specialist page that explains the origin of the wood and how it was sourced sustainably, or how it meets safety requirements. And then, of course, affordability. QR codes do not cost much to create or maintain. You control using QR codes for free, so there is a low risk in venturing into the technology. And often, also after printing, whole instruction guides, as opposed to printing just the QR code. So it lowers the printing cost. And it can be a lot cheaper and more sustainable, obviously, if change or edits are needed. Especially if it's a dynamic QR code, you're not needing to reprint this. You can just make the changes on the electronic information that this links through to. So you're not needing to reprint or do printing updates. You can keep the printing the same. So basically the cost to correct or make updates is a lot lower, helping you again for things to be more affordable and sustainable. So are QR codes still relevant in 2022 as we're coming at the back of COVID? Basically, the short answer is yes. Pre-COVID, we saw QR codes not being used as much, but COVID has revived their use and changing our behaviours. So there's a lot of statistics out there around how we shop online more now. And one thing that we also do is we use QR codes a lot more, and we're happy to use them. So people know now how to use them and look out for them. They recognize them and realize they're a good thing to use. So businesses globally are embracing them, and because of that, um, they're, they're, the end consumer is getting used to seeing them being used in a lot more places. They start to expect them to be used or be given as an option. And of course, because of the sustainability and affordability factors, they're becoming obviously big factors in business. There's a big trend in them becoming big factors globally. So we would expect businesses to embrace them even more because of just even the sustainability and affordability factors. Adidas has recently done a collaboration with Spotify and added QR codes to all their shoes that link to custom music playlists. So they've become a really creative way to show collaboration and add extra value. So they're already selling their shoes, but now you've got this awesome curated playlist that you can connect to and just add on your Spotify. So it's like an added value thing that they've put into their already popular product. Um, So, Juniper Research has recorded that 1 billion smartphones worldwide will access and scan QR codes by 2022. So, this is a 300% increase from their initial research and estimates from 2017. So, QR codes have become useful in different aspects of people's lives and even in the business and marketing sector, like we've been talking about. And the world is facing a new normal, and QR codes have been a practical and tool for delivering timely information in a contactless way, keeping everyone's safety as its main advantage. And although we're coming, New Zealand is still going through quite a bit of COVID, the rest of the world has come out probably a bit ahead of us in that area. But they're still embracing QR codes and still liking contactless options. So how can you use QR codes in your business? And so let's look at a few examples of how codes are being used. And obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. Really, the list is only restricted as much as your imagination and the people that are coming up with new ways of using QR codes all the time. But in saying that, you don't have to be unique. You can look at what other businesses are doing and replicate that to make it suit your own business. So this is just really a list of things to maybe start some imagination for you, some creativity for you, and to help you to realize some ways that you can leverage this technology for your business. So the first group of ideas are really using QR codes as marketing tools. And so you can catch your consumers' attention and stand apart from your competitors. So link QR codes to exclusive offers or valuable content to carry that curiosity through to a sale or sign up or other type of conversation. So this is really cool. Like this little picture here, you've got someone there. They're already at the coffee shop, but you can sign up to a 3-month coffee subscription, and it takes you through to a line where they're going to be signing up, and obviously they're going to build that database, right? Which is what those things are all about, so that then you can market other promotions to them. You can target consumers on the go wherever they are. So QR codes make it super easy for customers and prospects to access your information on their phones in seconds. You can integrate QR codes into your store signage and other print advertising. And we have done a bit of work on this with a partner where they have put QR codes into bus signage, and then that's related through to a competition that we've placed within the website. So using QR codes, and then also a way of signing up from that QR code, making sure that you're capturing that as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be QR codes placed just on your own physical premises. It can be in your advertising, it can be off-site, it can be even on your products, so that as your products leave your site, people are seeing the QR code and then coming back and being reminded about your business. So make real life and marketing material interactive. And this is a really cool thing, like the example there. In a shoe store, you've got the QR codes, and it actually then gives information about the shoe's width and size and what's its best use for, a little bit of history about it, and obviously pricing, up-to-date pricing. So that's using QR codes in store. I went shopping recently to buy a new washing machine, and one of my pet hates is washing appliance people not knowing their products very well. But the shop had really awesome QR codes put in there, so I could look up the the not just the brand, but the actual model specifications as I'm wandering around the store and just checking that the specifications are as per the advertisement as well. Just making sure I was buying the right thing, which I thought was really awesome. So QR codes add an interactive component by turning static content into dynamic call to action buttons. From asking customers to leave a Google review to redirecting them to a branded Facebook page, there are unlimited options for engagement. And I do agree with that. I think engagement's one of the biggest areas that you can use QR codes for to really up the engagement area. So turn any surface into marketing content. So QR codes can be placed anywhere in a business, like a storefront, signage, posters, business cards. They fit into business in any business environment. They can also be placed on product packaging and receipts. So I've got a couple of examples, which was really interesting. The old test. I've been in isolation recently. I wanted to collect a lot more options, but I've been in isolation with family with with COVID. But I noticed on even on the COVID test, there's a QR code so that you can learn how to take the test accurately and do that. I've got another one which is a baby product here. I've got a QR code on the bottom there, and so that's separate to the the scannable price one. This is the QR code, and it takes you through to an area that talks about the product and how to wash it, which I thought was really cool. And what have you got there, Inga?
It's skincare. So they've got like a little QR code that links to product information about their like sustainability and the natural ingredients they use.
Oh, nice. I think
Yeah.
that's really important with products that are marketed with sustainability, that's
Yeah.
verified, and having that link when you've got the product at home is really
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Um, this is another product I have, which is the 6 barrel sodas. And on the back there is a QR code, and it goes through to recipes that you can then use the soda syrup for, which I thought was really lovely. Another one I have is these cards that I bought that have they're playing cards, so aces, diamonds, all that sort of stuff. But they have pictures of famous pieces of art from the Met Gallery, and I did them because I love art, and I thought that would be a cool way of, when I'm playing cards, I can be reminded of pieces of art. And there's a QR code on the back that actually takes you through to the pieces of art and gives you more information. And it's actually about when they're showing at the Met Gallery, which I thought was really awesome as well. So it's about adding extra information, either about the product, the sustainability, adding value such as the recipes, adding more information about the art products. Yeah. So yeah, like all of those examples, you can use the QR codes to direct potential or existing customers to discounts, coupons, audio, video, augmented reality, giveaways, landing pages. You're basically adding more informational value to your products or about your business through using them. So basically, you can encourage your customers to use them. And these are some examples that we've seen around the place with the post-purchase engagement. So that's the examples that we've given. I've already purchased it. That's a post-purchase engagement is the recipe. That's what we're kind of talking about there. You've already purchased, so how can I add value to it so that maybe they'll come back and purchase more because they would have got that more value from the product. And one of the ways is the packaging, hang tags, and receipts. So adding instruction manuals or PDFs through from the QR code that's on the packaging or on the hang tags or on the receipt. Traceability of products, showing where the products come from, the materials or the ingredients. New or related products, you could have, an example of this one would be to link through to the other sizes or other products in this range, for example. Ask for reviews or surveys. I've got one of those that recently happened was I got on the receipt, it was a QR code asking me to go and give a review, and then I would be given, after giving the review, I'd be given a bit of a promotion or an offer. Offers, coupons and contests are all good ways that things that you can add to your packaging, your hang tags and your receipts. I love the hang tags ones that's happening, and of course they're the things that, like, if you've bought some clothing, it's the tag that's on the clothing, and you're always trying to fit a lot of information there, care information, or where where the materials have come from, that it's organic cotton, why are you claiming it's organic cotton, or whatever those things are becoming big deals. So going through to landing pages that have been set up to explain all that information and verify it adds a lot more value to the purchase. You can also do links to social media pages and convert customers to social media followers. And I think that's really important, that this is post-purchase engagement. A lot of businesses make the mistake that you are trying to divert people from your website through to your social media when they haven't actually purchased yet. If they're on your website, that's the place you want them to be. You want people to come from social media to your website because that's where your purchases and your engagement's going to be. But if they've already purchased, then you can then divert them back to your social media to follow so that they can get more engagement there. So I think, yes, getting links in either in your receipts or packaging that goes through to social media pages is a good idea. And then share customer service information. And again, really awesome for post-purchase engagement with customers, giving how do they make contact with you if there is an issue, or if they're not unsure of instructions, or if there's return and exchange information. And again, a nice place for this is all on the packaging, and a QR code on the inside of your box or a sticker that's part of the packaging can actually give that value right then and there when they're trying to return or trying to sort out any of those issues. And then we come to enhancing the customer's experience with your business. So you can share informative content, such as product recommendations, recipes like the one that I've shared, guides and tutorials. My husband and I bought a small piece of furniture that came flat packed, and we all don't read instructions. But there was a QR code, did that, and up popped a how-to video. We watched it for 10 seconds, figured it out that quickly, got the piece of furniture together really easily. And actually my experience of putting it together was a lot less frustration because of that process. It's interesting, rather than having to read, which we just don't read instructions very well. So create interactive environments. And that's, you see that a lot now give at museums and art galleries, where next to pieces of art there will be a QR code which takes you through to information about the art. I did one on Monet a year or so ago, and each Monet's piece of art had a QR code, went through to an audio thing that I could just listen to on my headphones as I was going around. I didn't need to buy anything from the art gallery to order to have that interactive experience. And it told me about the history of the art, where Monet was, what was happening around him when he did the art, and what Monet had said about the art since it had been done. So it really added to my experience. And you can see the previous example that we had about the shoes, or even my example about buying the appliance. Adding the QR code really helps interact and make that experience better. Parks and landmarks, you'll see them all the time in parks and landmarks, a QR code that then gives further information around the park and landmark. So if you've got anything historical there, or anything that you're trying to explain in your part as part of your business, maybe it's even just a bit of history on your business, next to your business name can be this QR code that goes through to that information. Libraries are using them as well a lot. And of course, using businesses to help give contactless options. Contactless options are not are sticking around, even though people are maybe not as nervous about COVID. Um, there's a lot of people that still have that need or wanting to have contactless options. So restaurant menus and how to order online, and having that e-payment, having the QR code enabling those options is really a nice way to streamline your process, your contactless process. So the other thing is to link to brochures or registration forms. So basically elevating the impact of business cards by making them more modern. Business cards are becoming old school. There's still a need for them out there, and I think a lot of people have these apps on their phones where they can touch and share contact. I think that's not quite taken over yet. I think there's still the need for a business card, but having a QR code on there that takes to an information about you as a salesperson, or about you as your business, with and then also registration forms so that you can collect emails, etc., are a modern way of integrating physical business card through to a nice electronic process. So you can also use QR codes to help generate new leads and build brand awareness. So product advertising, obviously include a QR code in your posters, your advertising, your storefront windows, in the interior of your storefront, on billboards, on furniture, just wherever, like we were talking about, just add that value by creating new leads and brand awareness. If you've got a physical store, I really recommend getting QR codes in that shop window so that people can take into your online shop, so they can either even just find out your store hours, or they can bookmark that online store so they can remember to come back and look at your store later. Or you could have an online promotion if they go to that store, so invite them back in person to redeem that store promotion. You can link to audio content for product demos, link to audio or video content. You can put stuff on YouTube, make it even a private channel if you need to, but they can link to that kind of content there, or to Spotify information, promote app downloads. You can promote PDF downloads as well, and you can do share giveaways through the QR codes. And obviously, free offerings, adding that extra value to your product is really awesome, and that helps to give to generate new leads and brand awareness by doing these kind of promotions. And again, PDFs, white papers, ebooks, discount codes can all be done through the QR codes. And you can lead those direct to landing pages. You can create microsites and websites specific for them, or just specific landing pages. And you can also go through to specific pages for email signups and contact forms as well. So I think you can kind of see a few trends there. So when strategizing or designing any new or refreshed product, process, marketing, or physical display, ask yourself, would QR codes enhance the engagement or the experience or the tracking? So as mentioned earlier, the only restriction is imagination. So use Google to help you be creative. Talk to your digital marketing experts, and that's what we do. We're happy to help talk to you. We do free online sessions, help strategize, even if it's not about your whole website, it can be just about how QR codes can be used in your business. So talk to your digital marketing experts, and then also talk to your print media partner. If they are not able to do QR codes, I suggest you find another one. QR codes are becoming such an important part of both digital advertising positioning as well as print in your packaging, in your products packaging, in your print marketing as well, that really you need someone that can do that for you. But thanks for joining me. Let's open it up for questions.
Yep, and now it's time for your questions. We want to know what you're struggling with, or if you have any questions about how to implement QR codes in your marketing materials or anywhere in your business. And while you're busy typing in those questions, I've got one question that we commonly get asked that I'd love to get your insights on, Rhonda. So we know that there's there's minimal investments in creating a QR code for your business. How much does it actually cost to create a QR code campaign?
Well, the actual QR code is you can get QR codes for free. There are QR code generators that you can just pop in and get one for free. There are some with paid subscriptions, some QR codes that you can do paid subscriptions, and you might want to look at that, especially if you're looking at the dynamic type of QR code, where you're wanting to trace the effectiveness of the QR code and start to look at the metrics of it. So some subscriptions there might be useful, but they're really minimal, maybe $10 a month, something like that. But often if you've got a partner, such as a print partner or a website partner, they can help you generate the QR codes as well. So really the cost comes in either the printing or the generation of the material that you're going to link the QR code to. So for example, if you've got a promotion, then it will be the cost of generating that promotion material or the landing page, or the cost of your strategist to come up with that kind of promotion concept. The actual QR code itself is either free or minimal. I think it's really important to not be scared of that, just give it a go. I think too, QR codes are very forgiving. So, you can always do one, and then with your next promotion that you've already got running, think, okay, how can I put a QR code in this? And then measure its success. Yeah.
Yeah. So it also depends on what kind of budget you have for marketing as well.
Well, yeah, of course, if you've not got a budget for marketing, then, that is obviously going to be a new cost, because you might be wanting to introduce one like that. But, one of the examples I've said a few times now is to put it on your shop window. There's no cost to that other than printing. And then what is it going to go to? Is it going to go to a promotion, and that's just a landing page on your website that you've already got. And if you're a good web admin person, you could probably do that yourself. Otherwise, your supplier could help you with that. Yeah. Yeah, and I like what Brent's put here. He's like, QR codes are common outside restaurants in Melbourne for menus. Yeah, I really agree with that. Oh, and at Melbourne Zoo, there was an entry ticket. I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's really kind of interesting. They're getting used more and more, and it's not just for that contact tracing that I think we started all thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so our first question is from Valerie. Valerie asks, how do you get a QR code and how do you put info onto it?
So the QR code, the generator generates it for you. And this is what's really important is between the static and the dynamic. So the static, the information is embedded in the static QR code. And what the QR generator will ask you to do is to give them the information, and they'll put that into the QR code and translate that into black dots, and etc. And remember, that's only good for one-off events. But the dynamic one generates like a link through to whatever you're wanting to link it to. So the when you do the QR code, it will generate you a dynamic QR code, and then you literally can link that through to either a landing page or a a video or whatever it might be, and the QR generator will help you link it. Yeah.
So it depends on what system you have set up for your business.
Yeah. I mean, if you're using a print person, the print person will make sure that you know how to do that, and same with your website person. But if you're doing it yourself, just follow the guidelines of a QR generator tool.
I've seen a comment from Ingrid. She asked, do you have any links to QR code creation tools? I've just linked to 2 different ones in the chat, so feel free to check those out.
Yeah, and they're not exhaustive. There literally is a lot. Just Google QR code generator. That would be your keywords that you're wanting to use. I have been doing a little bit of playing around with a packaging tool for the charity that I've been working on, and it's called No Issue, and they have their own QR code generator tool. And you'll find this a lot of the big print companies, or even small ones, will use and know and be able to recommend a QR code tool that they're using. But yeah, if you're just going to do your own, Google, have a play, have a use. Yeah,
Have an
and I do.
experiment.
Yeah, have an experiment, and I would use the free ones first. See if they don't meet your needs, then you can go to a sub one with a subscription. Yeah.
Totally. Our second question is also from Ingrid. She says, we use Canva to create them, but not sure where to create dynamic ones. And I'm assuming that is where you would use, like say TabKit or No Issue or Sprout QR or any
I'm
other
not
one of the
sure
ones.
about Canva, whether their ones are dynamic or not. I've not played with Canva, but you could just Google that and see if the Canva ones are. Yeah, but definitely you can then go and get them from the QR generators. And there's different levels of QR code generators. So ones that are just giving you, like if you look at this, are just giving you the black and white square. Other QR code generators will help you actually put images into or around it, or can even embed video in and around it. So there's different levels of QR generators. So have a think about what you're wanting to generate and what you want around it, and then kind of get the QR code generator that will help do that for you.
Yeah. And Ingrid, I've also just done a quick research and added a link to Canva that talks about QR codes. And it looks like that's how they set it up in their system. So that should be really helpful for you.
Thanks, Inga.
And while we're waiting for more questions to be added, I've got another one I'd like to ask you. Let's say I run a small business and I'm already using QR codes, but they're not generating the results that I want. So what can I do to make my QR codes more engaging and encourage people to scan them more often?
Obviously, look at the place that you're doing them. My advice back to Six Barrel Soda is to make it a bit bigger on the back of there. It worked, but it's not very big. And actually, the recipes that they've got are amazing. So I think you'd just kind of reassess it like any marketing. Do I need to change where I've put it? It might be that you've put it on too low on your shop front, or it's at your counter, but actually you could put it on your tables in your restaurant. So just have a look at that and reassess it. There's no one answer how you can make it better, But the other thing you could do is look at, is it helpful to put imagery associated with it, videos associated with it? Is it better to add an incentive, or add a promotion or an offer as part of it, and in order to invite the use of it? Yeah.
And I was just looking at my one from Trilogy that I had, and it crossed my mind. Is it better to have like copy next to a QR code that says what it's going to or that explains it? Because this one is just a QR code and it's small, like you said before, so it's hard to scan. And it doesn't really tell the customer what they're going to get from that. So is it better to have like
Absolutely.
call to action, like scan this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like on my furniture, it had instructions, just underneath it. And so I was like, yeah, gonna do that, instruction video or whatever. It was just pretty simple, but it did help me click through to it. Yeah. I mean, and it's similar to any marketing. You can't just expect people to know what they're gonna do. You have to invite them to know, is this a competition? Is this, something inviting to actually look at? I did notice, Inga, that Valerie's wanting to speak. Do you know how to do that with this tool?
I see that. Yeah, it should work now. Hi, Valerie. Let me see settings. Yeah, attendees may request to speak.
Valerie, I'm not sure if you can hear us. If not, maybe just pop what you'd like to say in the chat. Oh, there it is there. Sorry, Valerie. Does the QR code collect data from the visitors, i.e. their email? So not necessarily. So if you can remember when you went and did this, it just literally scanned into an app on your phone. So it only does what you're going to tell it to. So you actually need to take it if you want to collect their information, you have to actually take it from the QR code to a landing page or an app that then asks for their information. And obviously people won't give their information unless it's for a reason. So most of the times you'll be giving an offer, sign up and then you get a coupon code, or do this and then you enter a competition. And so it's similar to that. So it doesn't just do it by default. You actually have to add the call to action afterwards. Yeah, I think Valerie just joined us.
Yeah. Hi, Valerie.
Not working.
Oh, her audio's on.
All good.
Yeah. Well, that's a setting we need to experiment with because it never seems to work.
Thanks for your patience, Valerie.
Yeah.
Putting your question. Your question in.
Hi,
Valerie. We can see you.
Oh, hi. I don't know what happened there. Something went.
Do you want to share something about QR codes?
Yes, I sent you a question and then my video thing all went off. So I've got no idea what happened.
Yeah, so I was just answering that, and that you need to, it doesn't immediately go through to and collect information. You actually have to ask for it. So any QR code, you actually have to tell it what it's going to do. So it will either go through to a how-to video. You will have had to make the how-to video for it to go through to it. If you want people's emails, you have to go through to a form that you've done and ask for that information.
Oh, yeah. I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. It's been interesting. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great.
Does anyone else have questions? No? Okay. Are you right there, Valerie? There we go, Inga.
There we go.
That was new for us.
That was new. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh. Okay, I think that was experimental. That was fun. I've just seen another question from Ingrid. what is the value and or benefit of the images or video in or around the QR code versus just the QR code? Is that what you're meaning, Ingrid?
Yeah, I kind of get your question, Ingrid. It depends what you want the call to action is for it. I think images can be really useful. I don't think video would be, because at the end of the day, if you're wanting them to go through to a video, it could actually get in the way of having a video around the QR code. But some of these QR generators allow you to do that. Excuse me. So it would be a matter of having a play with it, and like all marketing things, you want to improve your chances of engagement, but not interrupt it. So just have a think about that when you're doing your QR code. Is it better to leave it with just an image or a border or a picture? You know, if it's a children's bookstore, maybe a picture around it of children rather than children playing. You know, it's kind of, it's only kind of adds so much. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about that one YouTube advertisement I was telling you about earlier, where they had I think it was Bear Hoodie, and it was a 4-minute video of just like a man wearing this jacket with like this grizzly voice playing in the background, and they had the QR code like off to one side really big. So, and they had it there throughout the whole video advertisement. And I wish I had a QR code scanner, but I did take a photo of it. But I found that one really engaging.
So it kind of depends, right? You know, and that video, obviously the video was there as the main attraction, and then the QR code was going through to an offer. So they wanted it there embedded in the video. So it made sense then.
And while we're waiting for you to send in any other questions you might have, I've got another one that I'd like to ask you. And, you know, throughout this presentation, we've talked about the unlimited opportunities and places where you can put QR codes. My question is there like an optimal place for putting a QR code? And like, does it change depending on the industry your business is in?
Well, you kind of, it's such a wide question. You know, if it's a product QR code, then on the product itself, and it depends on the you know, what type of product as to what's the best placement. You know, if it's a pair of shoes, then, you know, something on the insole would be the, you know, the standard place to add that, or on the box, on the packaging would be really good. And it depends what you're trying to take them through to. I got one of these stamps that you can name clothing with for my grandson. The packaging arrived and it had 3 QR codes on it. I didn't keep it, unfortunately. It was just part of a thing I got a couple of months ago before I thought of doing this webinar. And it was interesting that they had it on the bottom of the box. They had a different promotion on the lid of it. The one on the lid went through to information about the ink to make sure I knew it was safe. The one on the bottom was a discount for another stamp. So I don't know if there's a standardized way of doing it. I would say that, you know, make them usable. I think that's the biggest thing. They are something that someone has to do an action from. So just seeing them's not enough. You know, you have to make them usable and that people will see them and do an action from. So I think that would be important to, you know, it might determine where you're putting them, either on your product or in your marketing.
I see. And one more question, and last call for questions, everybody. And you've talked about this a lot throughout the whole presentation, but I want to hear from your perspective. Why are so many businesses using QR codes?
I think it's been a trend over the last few years where I think they were always going to increase in usability. I don't think the trend is, you know, we're not bucking a trend, but I think what COVID has done has changed our behavior so much quicker. Like with going online shopping and even researching products, we were always doing that before COVID. the trend was always that those numbers were going to increase, the percentages, but COVID's accelerated it. And I think that within the industry, we're talking it's accelerated it by 5 years within a 1 year time frame. So QR codes are very similar. They've had this massive jump in being used. And I don't see that going backwards, because it always was a trend for them to be used more.
Yeah.
And so I think because we've had COVID, it's changed our behaviours. And although COVID's going, to a large respect, our behaviours are staying consistent, because we've realised the benefits of it. It's so much easier, it's more contactless, and we enjoy contactless options. We like things that are more sustainable and lower cost, and QR codes meet all those criterias.
Are we also like impacted by how much we use technology? Because I think QR codes are now being like embedded into smartphones, so you don't even have to download an app to use it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. The technology is made, and going from static to dynamic QR codes has made them much more useful. They can track your marketing, which is really important, that you understand that you're getting a return of investment with anything that you're doing. And the making people interact with you electronically when you're not even there is really important. So even if you've got a coffee shop, getting someone that scans your QR code as they walk by to pick up an offer to use next time they're coming in, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we have any more questions, so I'll wrap up the Q&A for now. Thank you so much, Rhonda, for answering all the questions.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing all your information today. I'm sure everyone will have a lot to take away from this and start.
Well, I hope people give it a go. Give it a go. QR codes are fun, and I think just give it a go. Just try one and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, don't get disheartened. Just try another one and look what people are doing around you. And notice it when you go out, how are you interacting with QR codes? Like the person on the chat, when they went to the zoo or to another cafe, they noticed this. So, copy that. Yeah.
Have a scavenge wherever you are.
Yeah.
Like QR codes, like bingo.
It is. Thanks,
Okay.
Inga.
No worries. Thank you. For our next webinar, we'll be talking about 5 social media challenges and how to overcome them. We understand that putting your business on social media can be an investment of time and money. So whatever platform you're on, you want to make sure that you're set up for success. We'll be having this webinar on June 29th, and we understand that's a little while away. So please visit our webinar library for our past webinars and previous digital marketing resources until then. We've arrived at the end of our webinar today. Again, a special thank you to Rhonda for sharing all her insights. And thank you again to all of you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us and sharing your questions. We hope you have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see you again soon on June 29th. Bye.